can't villainize it. And for parents on this, please do not villainize technology and screen time with your kids. Instead, it needs to be an open conversation about that. I'm actually doing a speaking event coming up about healthy screen time for kids, which talks about just that for parents, because you just can't villainize it. It's going to be a part of our world, whether you like it or not. And instead, we need to create conversations around how you use it as a superpower and not as a detriment. And one of the speaking tours I also just finished up on behalf of Canadian Red Cross was about how to build trust and connection online through Zoom. I know right now listeners are going, I am over this. I am done. Let me get back to my office. Let me manage my team where I can physically see them. I can build that trust. I feel like I can't trust anyone on my team. Networking is impossible. I feel like I've had so many phone calls with people I'm trying to build relationships with, and it's going nowhere. That is because of how you are actually communicating on Zoom. We think we can communicate the same way in person and just do that on Zoom, but you can't. And in fact, a lot of the things you used to do in person that traditionally build trust is actually breaking the trust, and you aren't even aware of it because you just don't even think of it. It's automatic, right? So if we can help to now educate people about this, that Zoom fatigue thing is going to be a thing of the past, and technology can be used as an incredible tool to exponentially grow your business.
Totally. And I think, like, I'd love to talk about maybe some of your tips from your learning throughout that with connecting with people on Zoom. One of the things that comes to mind, I was talking with someone several months ago, actually, and I didn't really realize the lack of communication that we're having with Zoom, because we're not actually looking at the camera. And it like popped out to me because he was one of the first people I talked to that actually looked at the camera. And so it was weird. Well, it's not weird, but it felt natural and it was nice, but it was unusual because I hadn't seen it before. And I quickly like picked up on it, and I asked him, I was like, so are you looking at the camera? Or are you looking at me? And he said, yeah, I'm looking at the camera. I've trained myself to do that. And so that's something I've been actively working on. But what's your experience been, and what are some of those tips that other people can learn from?
There's so many. And let me preface this by saying this is not the first time we've had to relearn our tricks. It's just previously when email came on the scene, text messages came on the scene, it was gradual, right? But back in the day, I sent my first email back in college. So when I got my first job, I tried to be funny. I was the funny girl, and I tried to be funny in an email. You cannot convey sarcasm in an email, especially pre-winky face days. That had not been introduced. And you learn really quickly when you get an email back from your superior saying that was completely uncalled for and I don't appreciate it. You're like, oh my gosh, let me run to the office. I'm so sorry. I was joking. I was trying to be funny, and it came across like I was just a meanie. So this is not the first time we've had to make this transition. The problem is this was literally thrust on us overnight. We were told you can't leave your house, you're stuck. And there was no transition time. And because it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, meaning I can see you just like I could see you in person. I can hear you, and I can hear you in person. Surely whatever we did in person, I can do here, but that's not the case, because if it's not in frame, it doesn't exist. And all of those things that for as long as you've been alive, and like hundreds of years prior to that, it has been bred into us with these social rules around how you build trust and connection. If you go to buy a used car and somebody doesn't make eye contact with you, they're looking over your shoulder, they're looking down, you're like, I'm not buying the car. It's just not going to happen. Like, I don't trust you, right? If I can't see your hands, you're making me uncomfortable. And so to give just, I mean, it's an hour, 75-minute seminar, but I'll try and give you a couple of tips. So one of them is, if it's not in frame, it doesn't exist. So for example, maybe you're a career counselor, a coach, a consultant, or really anybody. If you were in person at Starbucks and we met, or you came to my office and you were talking and I started taking notes, you would feel valued, because you're like, oh, they're listening. They clearly can't be doing anything else. They're engaged, they're taking notes, they care. And I'm doing that knowing that I'm giving that impression. Now I've got a zoomed out web lens, but if I go like this is what most of you kind of look like, but like way closer. So this is how you are like your webcam. And sorry for those who are just listening to the audio and you don't see the video on this, but if I was doing that same thing and I started taking notes, this is what it looks like.
Yeah, it just looks like your head's down.
It looks like you're on your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so now, even though people are going, oh, well, every time I met with Leah, she usually took notes. She's probably taking notes. Maybe she's not taking notes. Maybe something happened. Maybe I'm not as interesting as I once was. Maybe she's just not into this. You've created a seed of doubt, and that's all that you need in order for them to now start looking at other areas in which they're going, see, I knew it. She doesn't care anymore. This is not as good as it once was. And that's just one example. A lot of people are what I call the talking head syndrome. So they're like this in their webcam. And it comes across as slouching. It comes across like you just don't care. Your lighting is bad. But probably the biggest tip that I can give is about the black screens. So if you've ever had to deliver a conference or a big meeting or a presentation and everybody shows up and it's all black screens, we get over it. Here's where Zoom fatigue really comes from. It has nothing to do with screen time. Okay, let's be real. We're on our screen all day. When we take a bathroom break, we take our phone with us. We're on our phone in the bathroom. Then when we get home, we're like, oh, I'm going to relax. I'm going to put my feet up and turn on Netflix. And we're still in front of the bloody screen.
You caught me.
Right? So it's not the screen. What it is the over-analysis our brain is in a constant state of trying to calibrate based on old rules of building trust and connection. Eye contact is one of them. I'm calibrating going, what are you looking at right now? Are you like, if we were in Zoom and I was looking at your photo right now, you'd be about here on my screen and I'm talking to you and you're like, what are you looking at? What are you doing? And if all of a sudden you get me really excited and I'm like, oh, I got to share this link with Joel, and I start searching for the link so I can paste it to you, I'm actually going, oh, he's going to love this. But Joel's going, did I just lose you? Did you just get an email come through? What is it I need to do here? Right.
Yeah.
But with the black screens, we're taking it personally. And we're actually judging those people and going, they haven't shown up. They don't really care. They're clearly the slackers of the group. When in actual fact, the black screens could mean they're working twice as hard because they have had back-to-back meetings and they have not had time for a pee break. And guess what? They've taken the laptop to the bathroom so they can have a damn pee break. Maybe it's that they have not showered in 4 days because they've been going so hardcore and they just don't want to be on camera. Maybe it's because they're going, this should be my safe space. It's with my boss. I've been in front of clients all day. I just need to be able to put my feet up on the table and just chill and listen to this thing. The other thing is when you're delivering a presentation, let's be honest, we're in the podcast world now, right? So Joel, when people are listening to your podcast, they're working out, they're doing laundry, they're cooking, they're multitasking. So why wouldn't they still multitask when listening to your presentation? They're folding laundry, they're doing squats. They're like, I'm going to get some workout in while I'm listening to you. And they don't want to be on camera. So we need to stop taking it seriously. We also need to stop overanalyzing if somebody's looking at the camera, not looking at the camera, looking at their second screen. Somebody gets up to fill up their coffee. They can still hear us, but you can't see me. So you've assumed I've checked out. It's that overanalysis.